We've got the mayor of Corinth, Tom Vanderford, in the house talking about the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss football, and we're just generally having a really good time. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Stick around.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. We're going to bring in the mayor of Corinth himself, Tom Vanderford, to talk about the Sugar Bowl that is coming up on Thursday. It is really cool. Ole Miss is putting billboards up on I-55 and I-59, celebrating Ole Miss going to the Sugar Bowl, and honestly, they should. It is going to be a major, major thing. Anyway, thanks for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen. Please give us a like, subscribe, and comment. On your way out, find a second listen on the network, Locked On SEC, Locked On College Football. That's all available to you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So, Tommy, really interesting stuff. At what point in that Ole Miss Tulane game did you say, okay, this is over, we're going to the Sugar Bowl?
At halftime, really. I didn't see a whole lot of I thought our defense played wonderful, and I didn't see a whole lot of offensive output from Tulane. And I was like, yeah, we've already scored enough to win this game.
Yeah, there was a couple of explosive plays that were kind of flukish for Tulane that happened on a first down that inflated their yardage total. But anytime that Tulane needed to get a yard and Ole Miss knew exactly what they were going to do, they had no chance. They had no shot to do it. Exactly.
And you're going to give up. You're going to give up those freak plays. You know, you just are. Hopefully we can limit that this coming week. But, you know, you're going to give up some of that stuff. It's just, you know, it's human nature.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, you know, all of the Locked On podcast, I guess the Locked On Georgia Bulldogs podcast, they posted that Ole Miss has no chance and Ole Miss is a total joke, and unbelievable amount of disrespect towards the Ole Miss program. And I honestly am getting to the point where I am ready for Georgia to see the different defense that Ole Miss has now compared to what they saw in Athens, Georgia on that day.
Yeah, and I think people need to understand something. Our head coach is our defensive coordinator now. So he's going to, no matter what, he's going to run the defense. He knows that'll work. You ain't going to see no rush 3, drop 8 crap or anything like that in this game.
You know, I listen, Pete has always had autonomy. I'm not saying that he did.
Oh, no, I know.
Yeah, but I do believe if you look at the last 6 years of offense, I think that ever since Matt Corral had that 6 interception game against Arkansas, Lane has been in love with the drop 8.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that, hey, when I know what's going on here, but can you at least try and slip this in here as well? Because, you know, and Ole Miss got in trouble with the early part of this season in the drop 8 going against Arkansas, who was a very good offense in that Georgia game.
Yep.
Once they changed it to more even fronts, putting Suntarine Perkins back in a pass rushing situation, Prince Willem Mielen got healthy. The second half of the season, Ole Miss had 20 sacks or so. When before the Georgia game, they had 5 in like 6 games. After that, they had 20. That lets you know that Pete Golding was like, okay, we need this defensive unit to start creating some explosive plays. That's the foundation of what I do. We need this defense to start doing it. And they started calling defenses that way. And it started with a dominating performance over Oklahoma, and their defense has been pretty good, honestly, all the way through towards the end of the season after that.
Exactly. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm saying the same thing. I'm just saying that they're going to see a different front seven than they did in Athens.
Yeah, the funny thing is, whenever the first part of the season, the early part, or September or August or July, when we were talking about it, you can go back and find the video. I have said on multiple occasions that this team will go as far as the front seven will take them. And Georgia's elite physicality, this is going to be a phone booth game. This is going to be a front seven game. And if Cam Franklin, if Prince William, if Will Eccles or Suntarine Perkins or the linebacker Andrew Jones, who emerged like with 2 minutes left in the Georgia game. After that, they couldn't take him off the field. And you look at TJ Daugherty, that the front seven on that defense is going to control Ole Miss's fate to the semifinals and beyond. If Ole Miss gets past Georgia, it is because the front seven played a great game and dealt with Georgia's elite physicality.
I agree. It's all our defensive line against their offensive line. Mm-hmm. And we need the same kind of offensive output we had in Athens. Now, I'm a fan, so I can say this. There was a little bit of home cooking in Athens in the second half. That's just me. And I can say that and get away with it. But I'm looking forward to playing Georgia on a neutral field with non-SEC officials.
Yeah. There's something to it. And when you look at the intangibles in this ball game, everybody's going to look on the field and try and just like move forward because everybody takes a data point and moves it out towards infinity. So that's the reason that you hear all of the narratives that are out in the sphere at the moment. But no team has ever won a rematch that won in the regular season in the Sugar Bowl. Even LSU in 2011, it wasn't a Sugar Bowl, but it was a Sugar Bowl adjacent game hosted by the Sugar Bowl for the FBS National Championship, BCS. Alabama won that 21-0 after losing 9-6 at home.
Right.
The legendary Billy Cannon game that everybody points to where LSU beat Ole Miss 7-3. Ole Miss came back in that game, beat LSU 21-0.
Yep.
It's a pretty standard history where no team that has won during the regular season has won in the Sugar Bowl. When you look at just the fact that Ole Miss played a game a couple of days ago and they're going to play in about a week in the Sugar Bowl, they don't have as much of a layoff as the Georgia Bulldogs. That's a big layoff. If you look at last season, not a very big sample size. It's only 1 year, but no team that had a bye won in last year's playoffs. It is hard when you have a bye week to be prepared for what's going on, especially when you're going to go against a team that moves as fast as Ole Miss moves. It's going to take a beat for game speed. There's a lot of intangibles. I think Pete Golding right now is kind of feeling himself, if we're going to be honest, because of the Tulane game and what's going on. He doesn't do this analytic stuff that Ole Miss has lost games because of in recent years. Now, Ole Miss has won 10-plus games a year in 3 straight years. They've won a lot of games, but they also have lost games they should have won because of analytics. Pete's not doing that. He is playing the momentum game. He is playing winning football, stuff that he has learned from Nick Saban when he was on that staff for 5.5 years. If you look at the intangibles in this game, you can see why Georgia's only favored by 6.5 points. And honestly, if you look at advanced stats, it should be closer to about 3 points, if we're going to be honest. The game is right next to Mississippi, like right on the corner. If you look at it, if you take away their Mississippi State road trip, that's a long road trip, but Mississippi State went 1-7 and wasn't a very good football team. Georgia played 3 other road games. Where were they?
Oh, goodness. One was in Florida.
They played in Jacksonville, so that's about 30 miles from the border.
Right. And, I don't know the other ones.
They played at Auburn, which is about 10 miles from the Georgia border.
Right.
And they played at Tennessee, which is about 90 minutes across the Georgia border.
Yeah.
No places that Georgia would even need to fly other than Mississippi State was there. This is by far the longest road game that Georgia has been on this season. So you take the layoff, you take all of the intangibles there. Kirby's got his work cut out, because I'm not saying they're not elite athletes. They are the gold standard of what's going on. But whenever you factor in all of this other stuff, he has his work cut out for him. And he's going to be facing a team that's extremely motivated because of what happened in Athens, Georgia. A game, by the way, that Ole Miss was a 4th and 2 away from essentially winning that game and going 12-0 and being number 2 in the country right now.
That is correct.
So when we come back, we will continue to talk to the mayor of Corinth about this Sugar Bowl. I hope everybody is having a great weekend. Remember, we're having to bank some videos because today is my 25th wedding anniversary celebration. So all of these kind of got pre-recorded. But when we come back, we'll continue to talk to the mayor of Corinth on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. All right, let's talk about something men don't like to bring up, but they probably should. Stress from work, money, and life, it just doesn't switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rougiette Ready is designed to help you take control back. Rougiette Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment created to support both brain and the body, so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters most. Rougiette Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in one mint that dissolves under your tongue. It absorbs fast. The science behind Rougiette Ready stands out. 3 clinically proven ingredients and a formula designed for both mental and physical readiness. You connect with a board-certified doctor online, and everything ships discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average, so you can stay present, confident, and in control when the moment is right. So if you've been thinking about taking the next step, now is the time. Head to rougietteready.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege and get your 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiette Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to, and give it a 5-star review. It costs absolutely nothing, but it helps keep all of this free. And thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes down below to learn more. All right, Tommy, one thing that's interesting in this game, and like I said, we talked about having a data point from that game in Athens, that fourth quarter, essentially, 75% of the game, Ole Miss played beyond well enough to win. And then Trinidad Chambliss, in his first road start, it got juiced in that building. Whenever Georgia picked up that 4th and 2 and scored the touchdown, when Ole Miss got the ball back, there was 90,000 screaming fans and all of that. And it was Trinidad's first road game, and it affected him. You saw some passes to where it was thrown just poorly. It wasn't a situation to where Georgia just took things away from Ole Miss. It was literally a situation where Ole Miss just didn't make passes. There were 3 or 4 poor passes by Trinidad Chambliss, and he would tell you this same thing. That's not going to be a problem in New Orleans because it's going to be 60% Ole Miss fans down there in that stadium. The stadium might get juiced, the momentum might happen, but it will not affect Trinidad the same way. Those passes that were open, because Daquan Wright, I don't care what anybody says, I know you're playing the Georgia Bulldog. The best player on the field is Daquan Wright. Absolutely. There's nobody on Georgia's defense, in my opinion, that can cover Daquan Wright. And as long as that happens with the weapons that Ole Miss has on the outside and with Kewan Lacy and the offensive line and all of that stuff, I think this is a pretty solid matchup with a Georgia defense that is good. It's legitimately good unit, but it is truly in this game a strength on strength matchup. and it's going to come down to Ole Miss on defense, handling Georgia on offense, kind of weakness on weakness to determine who wins this game.
I agree. And there's going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be close to, you said 60%. It may be even more than that, but there's no way in the world that Georgia, they travel good, but there's no way they're going to bring more people to New Orleans than Ole Miss.
Not a Sugar Bowl. Not a Sugar Bowl.
No way.
Yeah. And they do travel well. But listen, everybody I've talked to, I've been asking people ever since the game. I did a watch party, a live remote at the playoff game against Tulane when Ole Miss had the Sugar Bowl to go. 75% of the people in there were just, a matter of fact, yeah, we're going to New Orleans. Yeah, that's happening. And it's one of those things. And it started popping online and everything's, yes, of course we're going. Everything. There's going to be 200,000 Ole Miss fans likely traveling down to New Orleans this weekend. Now, they're not going to be able to all get in the game. Now, you can use the gametime.co and put in the promo code Locked On College. You get $20 off your first order. You can do that to try and offset the fact that it is the hardest ticket to get of all the quarterfinal games. I think it's going to be interesting to see. You Ole Miss right now just announced on, I guess it was Wednesday, they announced that they're putting billboards up all up on 59 and 55 going into New Orleans that basically just says 193 miles until Hotty Toddy, and just put the Sugar Bowl logo on there. And there's 4 or 5 of those things that they're going to put out. I do not think that everybody can even imagine how big of a deal this is if you're not an Ole Miss fan. Everybody on Ole Miss's side is just a matter of fact that it's a big deal. It just is. But everybody that's not an Ole Miss fan, this isn't just a college football quarterfinal. This is a college football quarterfinal that is being held in the city that for the last 60 years has been the shining star on a hill for Ole Miss to get back to.
That is correct.
So should be really interesting to see exactly how it goes. I'm pretty fired up exactly looking at Ole Miss and how they're going to travel and all that. I know there's going to be a bunch of feels that day, and we'll talk to Tom about that and some of the other quarterfinal games when we come back. But this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. You know, Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during happy hour always brings something new, boost, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check out new weekly specials before tip-off, and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds a little extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time. It's a little basketball, it's a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, so Tom, looking at this, listen, on New Year's Day, I think the other football games are going to be great because of how special that day is to me.
Right.
Going on, but Ole Miss being the last game of that day, I imagine starting as soon as I wake up, there's going to be feels, there's going to be anxiety, there's going to be nostalgia, thinking back of games gone by, you know, John Darnell to Reed Hines against Georgia in 1989, Walker Jones running down Hines Ward against Georgia in like 1996. Mm-hmm. last year's game against the Georgia Bulldogs, there's going to be a bunch of nostalgia. The 1993 game where Cassius Ware almost killed Eric Zier and led to a touchdown. There's so much nostalgia for Ole Miss Georgia because I've always enjoyed when Ole Miss played Georgia because, in my opinion, there's a lot of similarities between the two fan bases. But this is also the culmination of an event to get there. There's still a party. The party that you saw in Vaughn Hemingway Stadium, they're going to be doing it on Bourbon Street and in the Superdome as well. I can't wait to know exactly what that day is going to feel like.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anytime, and you hit the nail on the head. The other SEC school in the state of Mississippi has never, ever been to the Sugar Bowl. Mm-hmm. And for this to be our 11th time, it's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is 4th all time in Sugar Bowl appearances. I think Alabama, LSU, and Georgia are the only teams that had more, if I'm not mistaken.
Past 10 years.
Yeah. Ole Miss this will be Ole Miss's 3rd trip in 10 years. It's pretty cool. And the stat of stats is everybody talks about Ole Miss, and the one that didn't go to the Sugar Bowl had to deal with probation and all of that other stuff that was on the program. But 3 out of the last 4 head coaches at Ole Miss have been to a Sugar Bowl. And if you're like me and Tom, who grew up and got to the point where we were kind of old enough to where the Sugar Bowl was in the rear view mirror, and that was the goal of what was going on, man, 2015 was a celebration unlike much that you've seen because Ole Miss had finally made it back to that, what they were promised, all of that stuff. But now, 3rd time in 10 years, there's still the heartstring pull on people our age, but it's starting to become kind of a regular occurrence, and I'm here for that.
Oh, me too. Me too.
So, how will you watch the game, Tommy?
Well, probably here at the house. If there's one thing I've learned is I don't think I've got the health that I used to have as far as doing all the things that I would have to do to go to New Orleans and go to the game and come back. Unfortunately, I've gotten too old for that and too pitiful, I guess. But I can still sit here at home and watch it and be just as happy as I can be. A lot of my friends are going down there. I hope they have a blast. I know they will. And I'm just going to watch it and soak it in.
Whenever you talk to your friends and the conversations that you had, about how many of them are going down to New Orleans?
Oh, goodness. All of them. Seriously, entire families. My buddy Rod Nixon and his family are going down there. The Hammetts people I know are both brothers and all their families are going as usual. Just everybody I know is going down there for the most part. So, like you said, the people I'm talking about all have tickets to the game already, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that go down there just for the heck of it.
Yeah, and like John Forcade, if you want to go back to the show I did with John on Tuesday, he talked about there's restaurants down there. If you want to watch the game, John's got the hookup essentially if you can't get into the stadium of what's going on, but you want to be in New Orleans just in case it just completely gets crazy, which honestly, I think an Ole Miss win.
Oh,
it would blow the roof off of that place.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely nuts. Anyway, thank you so much, Tom. We will talk to you. I don't know if it'll be before the game, but we'll talk to you again after it one way or another.
Hey, that's all good. Hey, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And hotty toddy, everybody.
All right. Hotty toddy, Tom. Tom Vanderford, the mayor of Corinth, joining the show. Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On Ole Miss. Listen, it's a little bit clunky right now. We've spent the last 4 days with me traveling, getting ready for this 25th anniversary wedding celebration. I do appreciate your patience of what's going on. Monday will look a whole lot more like business as usual. And then we'll get into game weekend, all of that stuff. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Make sure you subscribe and follow so you get all of the latest episodes. We're on all the social channels. Check those out as well. And also, did Locked On Ole Miss make your Spotify Wrap this year? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and they will drop you the code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free, exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. And for those of you on video, we will send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football. Hotty toddy, everybody. Ole Miss has a Sugar Bowl in about 5 days, and that is pretty awesome. So take care.